There is an article in today's newspaper concerning the MP Jess Phillips. She's MP for Birmingham Yardley. Um, she is quite a divisive figure and a contentious figure to many people. Anyway, I'll just show you the article. I'm not going to read it all out because that's just time consuming. Um, and it's not under an opinion segment, it's under politics, so it's classed as a news item as opposed to the opinion section. It is incredibly one-sided. The reporter is Heather Saul. Very one-sided report, which I'm disappointed by, but not surprised by. Now, for a bit of context, the Eye is a centre-left newspaper, so I'm not really surprised that they're, putting forward the position of a well-known feminist. Um, but there's a few things I want to address with this. The main cusp of this article is about the online abuse that she allegedly receives on her Twitter account. Um, Now, I've no doubt that there is abuse going on, and this is my take. I think that personal vitriolic abuse is totally unnecessary. It's wrong. Um, the article doesn't clarify what the nature of this abuse is, but I imagine some of it's pretty unpleasant. Um, and if there are people, calling themselves men's rights activists or whatever, and they are coming out with very hateful personal comments. Let's say, for example, rape threats or something like that. I think that is abhorrent. I think you should. I think there's a place for people to be passionate and be angry, voice their opinions, but it has to be done in a responsible way. Although a lot of MPs get this abuse, it isn't just Jess Phillips, and male MPs get abuse too. When the whole Syria thing was going on, there were people in the party, male MPs as well, who got a lot of abuse from Jeremy Corbyn supporters. Some Jeremy Corbyn supporters, I should say. So that's something to bear in mind. I don't condone that. I don't think it's the right way to go about things. I think it's better to do, well, pretty much what I'm doing. Raise your voice in a different way. And if you don't have the means to upload a YouTube video, um, don't flood her account with personal abuse because it will only pander to her divisive narrative. And it's wrong. Whatever you think of someone, that's not the way to go about things. This is where I take issue with Jess Phillips. She is presenting herself as a victim because she's a female MP. Jess Phillips is a very divisive figure and, in my opinion, a very sexist person. From the beginning, since she got elected into Parliament, she has come out with such sexist language that no way would male MPs get away with some of the things that she has said. For example, she said that at the time the Labour leadership election was going on, that Jeremy Corbyn shouldn't be elected. I can't remember if it was just before or just after he'd been elected. But either way, she said he shouldn't be elected because he was a white man. Now, whatever you think about representation, it's clearly sexist. I would say racist, but she is white. It is clearly sexist to say that someone shouldn't have a position solely because of their gender. Why can't feminists grasp that? So my message to moderate feminists would be: if you agree that people shouldn't be judged on their gender, then condemn Jess Phillips for that. She said it in this. I think it was a Newsnight piece. Can't remember exactly, but it was with the Conservative Jacob Rees-Mogg. She was in the back of a car going around a constituency, and she said that, which in my opinion is disgraceful. Imagine if a male MP said that they shouldn't have a female party leader, oh, because she's a woman, she should be in the kitchen. Imagine the outcry. And it doesn't stop there. During a men's rights committee, um, she actually laughed. And I'm not just talking about a little smirk, I'm talking about she couldn't hold herself back from laughing when important issues like disproportionate male suicide rates and shorter male life expectancy were being raised. Now, her argument against International Men's Day being recognised is that as the only woman on the committee, she feels there is no parity, and therefore there shouldn't be a recognition of International Men's Day. Now, even if that's her argument, the fact that she callously laughs at important issues impacting half the population, to me, demonstrates how unprofessional she is. I don't know how much of a how how well liked she is as a constituency MP. Um, she is the MP. I think she got elected in 2010, so that means she got re-elected in 2015. Um, I don't know how good a constituency MP she is, but as a national figure, I believe she's just a sexist. So she says that she doesn't hate men, but she has spent a hell of a lot of her time attacking men. And this is the issue I have. I really, really am not concerned with female MPs raising important issues like rape and abuse of young girls and so on. Those are important issues. And there have been things that have been going on that do need to be discussed. For instance, the abuse that was going on in Rotherham against young girls. So I'm not saying that all of Jess Phillips' points are invalid, certainly not. And in no way do I want people to think that I am saying that feminist issues should be swept under the carpet or something like that. But what I do find insufferable is the utter hypocrisy of saying we demand our voices heard, but we are going to silence and actively try to silence anyone who has a different point of view or anyone who tries to raise men's issues. Whatever she thinks about this parity situation, the fact that she believes that should be censored, the fact she believes there's no place for discussion, to me just demonstrates a callousness. What would she say to the families of young men who've taken their lives? Men in general, for that matter. I mean, this is one of many reasons I detest third wave feminism. There is a callous nastiness there. And it's this kind of smug idea, oh, the men have all the power, so it's okay for us to be completely obnoxious. Now, to be fair, this isn't all feminists. I've known feminists who would never, ever, condone that mindset and who would never laugh at male suicide. In fact, I know feminists who have actually expressed concern about those sort of issues. But this bias article is just a good example. Now, okay, it's a centre left paper, you'd expect that from the eye. But even right wing papers wouldn't dare, they wouldn't go down that line of attacking someone like Jess Phillips. Or if they did, they'd be quite subtle about it. Even the Daily Mail and the Sun and so on. So I do believe that feminists get a free pass on their sexism. I've written to the eye, the letter section. Whether they publish it or not is another matter. Um, I can't say that the eye is entirely biased because they do publish comments that don't necessarily go along with their editorial. Nevertheless, like all papers, it's not independent. It is definitely to the left. So it's to me, independent would be absolutely spot in the centre. The eye's not. The eye does plenty of virtue signalling, and it's a centre left paper, and there's aspects of it that are in my view regressive left. Um, so this whole article, not once does it try to show the other point of view. Not once does it try and give some context to what that criticism is. And if we're talking about generalizations, like I said, I condemn that abuse. But there are a lot of people, yes, a lot of men, but I suspect a lot of women too, who do not like this person because she is so divisive. And this idea that, thousands of angry men just bombarding her account is nonsense. I can't stand Jess Phillips, but I'm not going to her account. I'm not bombarding her with abuse. But I think her arguments are hypocritical. I think she's an outright sexist. So that's the point of what I think it is necessary to make. There are a lot of critics of Jess Phillips who don't use those tactics. And that's something that I utterly failed to mention. That Heather Shaw utterly failed to mention. We also have to really define what trolling is. Now, if it's If it's threats, if it's abuse in that way, I think that is more than childish, is wrong. But if it's simply criticism, and like I said, the article doesn't express exactly the nature of this, so it's hard to judge. Um, if it's just criticism, she's a public figure, she's a legislator, she's in a position of power. So she absolutely should be under scrutiny because the sort of things that she has said, if a male MP said something similar about women, there's absolutely no way we'd get away with it. And what left wing media outlets can't seem to grasp is that these situations emerge. So the reason why she has so many angry men um, is because they genuinely feel their voices are not heard, which is the point that Philip Davies was raising. Now, I know he is also a divisive figure because he's a pretty right wing Tory, but I will give him credit where credit's due. He's one of the very few MPs who bothers to raise men's issues. And this is what is so obnoxious about modern feminism. They really do have this concept that all men are princes of privilege, and that because we live in a patriarchy, in their opinion, um, men have no right to complain because we're all princes. We're all living luxurious lives, and we keep the women down. So, I have very little sympathy with Jess Phillips, and it is right that she is scrutinised. It is right that she is criticised. But there is a right way to do it, and it is not sending her nasty messages on her Twitter. I condemn that, especially given the fact that there has been violence against MPs. So that is wrong. I condemn it. I really reiterate that because I think it's not the way to go about things. But like I said, male MPs also get abuse. It's also wrong. And this whole article is about presenting her as a victim. And look at these awful men giving this feminist crusader a hard time. Except that Jess Phillips is a sexist, a divisive figure. She's no hero. The fact that she has raised important issues on women's rights doesn't condone the divisive attitude she's used towards men. I wouldn't have a problem with Jess Phillips if she was raising issues that impact women and she said, okay, that's fine. There's also issues that impact men. I'm not going to stand in the way. But the fact that she has actively tried to silence those issues even being discussed, I think is despicable. The fact there are fewer women in Parliament is utterly irrelevant to what is discussed in Parliament. So that's my thoughts on the matter. If you do live in Birmingham Yardley, let me know what sort of MP she is. That would be interesting. Obviously, she is a skilled politician. She's been elected twice, um, but I believe she's an utter hypocrite because she says that she doesn't hate men. Well, maybe she doesn't, but she is certainly guilty of stirring up animosity towards men. She's certainly guilty of downplaying issues impacting men, and she's certainly guilty of trivializing anti-male sexism. She's a hypocrite, and in my opinion, she's a very obnoxious person. And in my opinion, she personifies, frankly, a lot of third wave feminists. Not everyone, not all feminists, but frankly, too many.